Good evening and welcome to the World Now at 4. I am Aidnan Lubem. First, let's talk the headlines. On the headlines, police deploy officials as Abuja-Kaduna train resumes. Mali's junta chief paved way for civilian. Explosions hit two military airfields in Russia. And on sports, Sterling leaves England World Cup squad. And now the news in detail. President Muhammadu Buhari has arrived in Sokoto State for a one-day working visit. The president, who touched down at the Abubakar Sa'ad III International Airport, was received by the governor of the state, Aminu Tambuwal. The president then proceeded to the palace of the Sultan of Sokoto to pay homage on His Eminence Abubakar Sa'ad III. He will later serve as the special guest of honor at an annual Chief of Army Staff conference, which he is expected to declare open. Security has been beefed up within and around the state capital in readiness for the visit of the Nigerian leader. Participants at the conference include senior officials of the Nigerian Army. President Buhari will later in the day return to Abuja, the nation's capital. Vice President Yemi Osinbajo has urged the Nigerian youth to be hopeful and not be pressured to leave the country out of fear for the unknown. Osinbajo made the appeal during the 2022 service of 9 lessons and carols held on Sunday evening at the National Christian Center in Abuja. Osinbajo, who was represented by the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Boss Mustapha, urged Nigerians not to exercise fear or despair over the current challenges facing the nation ahead of the 2023 elections. He also expressed hope that Nigeria would overcome the difficulties as the elections and population census would be conducted peacefully without rancor. Osinbajo urged Nigerians to change the lens through which they view the country's current predicament and not to always leave the country. The Federal Capital Development Authority has withdrawn the plots provided to Ghanaian, Thai and Malaysian embassies for impeding the building of a significant motorway in the nation's capital. The FCDA's Executive Secretary Shehu Ahmad acknowledged the development over the weekend while updating the media on the organization's efforts to deliver essential national infrastructure. He asserted that the properties in question, which are located in Abuja's diplomatic district, were designated for a replacement many years ago to make room for the Ring Road 1 interchange development on the busy Inner Southern Expressway. Ahmad said replacement plots were offered at some of the new layouts, which the authority was developing at Gusape 2 to assuage the embassies affected by the major infrastructural project. He noted that the issues had been resolved at the diplomatic level, with the affected missions accepting the offer of replacement plots to pave the way for the construction of an interchange on that section of the road. Still in the news, Inspector General of Police Usman Baba has ordered immediate deployment of armed officials drawn from the Police Mobile Force, K9 Force Intelligence Bureau, Explosive Ordnance Unit and the Railway Police Command for the commencement of railway services along Abuja-Kaduna rail lines today, December 5, 2022. The force spokesperson Olumuyiwa Adejobi revealed this in a statement on Sunday night. Adejobi noted that Baba assured the general public, especially intending passengers, of adequate protection of lives and property, adding that all hands are on deck to fortify the railway services along the roads and other rail lines across the country. The deployment, according to the NPF, covers major railway stations along the route and operational coaches to provide adequate security for passengers, their property, and the entire service in order to prevent any unforeseen incidents. When we return, news from other parts of Africa. Stay with us. Welcome back and thank you for staying with us. Now to news from other parts of Africa. Head of Mali's ruling junta has rescinded a decree appointing a colonel as interim prime minister, paving the way for Choguel Kakala Maiga to return to the top job. Officials confirmed that Maiga, a civilian and political veteran appointed prime minister in June 2021, was forced to step aside in August after suffering a stroke at the age of 64. Mali's top politician, Colonel Assimi Goïta, had appointed by decree on 21 August the interim prime minister, Colonel Abdoulaye Maiga, who is also the government spokesman. Colonel Goïta has repealed the 21 August decree, the Secretary General of the Presidency, Mamadou Oulali, announced on state television. The decree read on Sunday evening names of those affected, including Maiga as Minister of State, still in charge of territorial administration and decentralization, and called to ensure the interim of the Prime Minister in case of absence, impediment, or vacancy of the post. A court in Chad has handed jail terms of up to 3 years to more than 260 people who were arrested after deadly protest in October. The mass trial took place in a high-security prison in the desert. Defense lawyers boycotted proceedings, arguing that the trial itself was not legal. More than 400 people face charges, including taking part in an unauthorized gathering and disturbing public order. Officials said about 50 people died during October's nationwide pro-democracy protest, including 10 members of the security force. Right groups said more than 100 people were killed by security forces. Still talking news from the world stage, explosions. Several people have been killed in explosions at 2 Russian military airfields. According to reports, a fuel tanker exploded, killing 3 and injuring 6 in an airfield near the city Ryazan, southeast of Moscow, Russia's state media reported. Another 2 people are reported to have been hurt in an explosion at an airfield in the Saratov region. It is not known what caused the blast, but both areas are hundreds of kilometers from the Ukrainian border. Long-range Russian strategic bombers are believed to be based at the Engels Air Base in the Saratov region. Ukraine has not officially commented on the development. Russian President Vladimir Putin has been informed of the 2 reported incidents, according to a Kremlin spokesman, Dmitry Peskov. Meanwhile, Ukraine has said Russia has launched a new wave of missile strikes on the country, which are alerts declared in Kyiv and in most regions. A bus full of passengers was among several vehicles buried under mud and rocks which tumbled down a hillside following heavy rains. One of the passengers helped his wife and 2 children escape from the bus before he was buried and died. Witnesses said an intercity bus, a jeep and a motorbike had stopped on the road because of a car accident further ahead when part of the hillside collapsed on top of them. Colombian President Gustavo Petro wrote on social media that 9 people had been rescued and more than 20 were still missing. So far, 3 people have been confirmed dead in the landslide, among them a young girl who is thought to have been riding on the motorbike with another person. Police warn that the diggers must be careful to avoid dislodging the bus because it could slide down the hill. Still on the international scene, bringing news from Indonesia, where Mount Semeru volcano has erupted, sending ash billows into the sky and sparking evacuations on the country's main island, Java. Authorities raised the volcano's warning status to the highest level, meaning activity had escalated. No injuries have been reported, but nearly 2,000 people were evacuated from the area around the volcano. People have been urged to keep at least 8 kilometers away as hot avalanches of lava poured from Semeru. The increased threat level from 3 to 4 also means the danger threatens people's home, according to a spokesman for Indonesia's Center for Volcanology and Geological Hazard Mitigation. The organization said a bridge being rebuilt after a previous eruption had been badly damaged. Volcanic ash mixed with monsoon rain was falling on nearby villages, and 1,969 people, including children and seniors, had been evacuated. The National Disaster Mitigation Agency, that is the BNBP, said at least 6 villages had been affected. And now moving to business news, Nigerian Railway Corporation has opened the online ticket portal for Abuja-Kaduna rail services today. Reports gathered that passengers booked ahead of the resumption date scheduled today. This is coming a week after the Minister of Transportation, Muazu Sambo, announced the extension of the train services. Findings also showed that the Idu rail station on Sunday revealed that staff of the corporation were seen at the station with some engineers. It will be recalled that it was earlier reported that terrorists attacked the Abuja-Kaduna train on March 28, 2022, kidnapping 168 passengers and killing 8 others. The release of the victims has been in batches since then, with the last 23 freed in October. Still talking business, this time from the international scene, a flight heading to the United Kingdom from Poland has been diverted to the Czech Republic after a report of a possible bomb on board. The flight was coming from Krakow to Bristol and was an hour into its 2.5-hour flight when it landed at Prague's Václav Havel Airport at 10:50 p.m. on Sunday. Prague Airport posted that there was a reported possible bomb on the aircraft. It was thought passengers were taken off the plane while a search was carried out by police investigators. Prague airport officials later added that no dangerous object was found on the plane after the pyrotechnic inspection. Still to come on World Now at 4 is sport news. Stay with us.
Very good evening to you and welcome to Sport News and World Now at 4. I am Richard Badung. Quickly to the stories, Divine Oduduru will be racing competitively for the first time since Tokyo 2020 Olympics at the 21st National Sports Festival ongoing in Asaba. The 5-time African Junior Champion, Divine Oduduru, has announced his return to athletics activities after going off the radar for over 15 months. Oduduru, 25-year-old, was spotted at the Stephen Keshi Stadium at Asaba as athletics and other track and field events commenced at the weekend. Oduduru will be representing Team Delta in the men's 200 meters events and also in the 4x100 meter. Sadly, it will be sitting out in the 100 meter, but should be available to compete later in the men's 4x100 meter relay. Recall last week, the national record holder in the 200 meter announced on his Facebook page that he would be back in athletics activities and has vowed his comeback will be historic. To other sporting matters, head coach of Flying Eagles Ladan Bosu on Saturday decamped 15 players from 40 invited players after spending 1 week with the team in Abuja, I beg your pardon. So the 15 African champions resumed camp last Monday in preparation for the 2023 CAF Under-20 African Nations Cup in Egypt. Nigeria qualified for the AFCON after winning the West African Under-20 regional tournament held in Nigeria. Coach Ladon Bosso led the Flying Eagles to scoring 17 goals and 3 friendly games in Abuja. They defeated Paul Esports Academy 5-0. Capital City also suffered a 5-0 defeat, and Kefi selected 7-0 in friendlies played on Thursday, Friday and Saturday respectively. Names of the camp players were not revealed as at the time of filing this report. Before we move to the world stage, let's quickly have you know that Senegal's president, Macky Sall, has hailed the team performance despite losing to England 3-0 in the round of 16 fixture on Sunday night. And also England will be without the services of Raheem Sterling after he was robbed in his house, manager Gareth Southgate confirmed to newsmen after the 3-0 thrashing. As it stands, the English Premier League will also commence, as England will commence after the World Cup, but England will have to take on France in the next fixture in the quarterfinals on Saturday. And that's your sport news on World Now at 4. Back to peace. Beg your pardon, back to Luben for the rest of the news. I am Richard Badum.
Welcome back and many thanks for staying with us. And that's World Now at 4, but before we go, a quick look at the top stories once again. Earlier on the headlines, we told you police deploy officials as Abuja-Kaduna train resumes. We also told you Mali's junta chief paves way for civilian. And also explosions hit 2 military airfields in Russia. On sports, we brought to the fore that Sterling leaves England World Cup squad. Remember to visit us on Facebook, Instagram, and our YouTube channel at Hughes TV. I am Aidnan Lubem. Thank you for watching.